from our studios in beautiful Tampa, St. Petersburg, Florida, this is IndyCar Talk, the greatest spectacle in podcasting. A look at the latest IndyCar races and all things automotive with your IndyCar Talk hosts, Jerome Ritchey and Dan O'Connor.
All right, this is a special edition of IndyCar Talk. We're calling it an IndyCar Talk Extra because when our IndyCar Talk crew traveled to the Indianapolis 500 this year, we, of course, were talking to all kinds of people around 16th and Georgetown Road, which is the intersection where it's the southwest corner of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Very famous intersection, although the two streets don't actually intersect right now because they've changed a lot of things around and made some improvements in preparation for the 100th running of the Indianapolis 500. But in any case, what we always like to do is the day before the race, go down to the track, and if we need to get some extra tickets for some of our friends, we'll do that. We'll hang out, watch some of the crazy people hanging around. But this year it was a little bit different. It was more subdued because they evidently do some concerts now on the Saturday before the actual running of the Indianapolis 500. So all the crazies and interesting characters that are normally just wandering around the streets and sidewalks around the speedway, a lot of them were not there. But we did still manage to talk to a yellow shirt, and a yellow shirt are the volunteers, and some of them are paid, some of them are volunteers that help out and work around the speedway, and you can identify them obviously in their yellow shirts. We talked to a guy who first attended the Indianapolis 500, I believe, during the Truman administration back in 1949, and we also talked to Omar the Scalper, but just friendly, fun people, and we really had a good time. So this is kind of what you can expect if you've never been to the Indianapolis 500. This is just a small sample of some of the people that you can expect to run into. So we'll start out with Mike, the yellow shirt. He was riding past us in his looked like a four-wheel drive golf cart, sort of a utility vehicle. But he was going on a break, so we managed to flag him down and talk to him about some of the things he's seen. And I was under the impression, until we talked to Mike, that all the yellow shirt guys and gals were volunteer. That is not the case. Mike set me straight. Again, here's Mike, the yellow shirt.
Wrong answer, bud. I don't volunteer. I get paid.
Oh, you do get paid?
I do get paid.
How long have you been a yellow shirt?
This is my second year.
Now, why did you decide to become a yellow shirt?
It's the color of the IMS.
What do you like about the job?
The people,
yeah,
the fun they have. I enjoy seeing people, relax, enjoy themselves, kick back, get a little wild but not crazy. The sound of the cars going around. I grew up out here on the west side, so I've been hearing it my whole life. It's just something I enjoy doing.
You watching people relax and listen to the cars, you sound more like the father of a few teenagers.
A few. I had 5 sons, so noise was part of the thing, and our house was the neighborhood house.
So it's weird if it's not loud.
Exactly.
You thrive on chaos.
I need the chaos. Yes, the more you feed me, the better I am. Call me the Tasmanian devil, because the more you feed, the wilder I get.
So you've been doing this for 2 years. What's the craziest thing you've seen out here in your duty as a yellow shirt the last couple of years?
A guy gets so drunk he forgets he's standing in front of a tree. He turns around, walks into it, and knocks himself out.
Dan, that was you last year, man. You remember? He really knocked himself unconscious?
Yesterday, right around this corner, he knocked himself out cold. The best part was his friend said, after I said, let's pick him up so he can, his friends told him, no, leave him there. He looks relaxed. That's what you come for right there.
So you didn't have to perform mouth to mouth.
He would have been dead if I had. I'm just saying. No.
All right. And that's the day in the life of a yellow shirt.
Hey, it's fun. You see people, you try to remind people, yeah, you're having fun, but stay hydrated, put your suntan on.
And watch out for the sycamore trees.
And that too. They do kind of move around from time to time, especially after a couple of Jell-O shots. So, hey, it's fun. right? You get interviewed like this out of nowhere. Look at all these guys. I mean, they're just having fun. Just having fun. And we won't even talk about the ladies.
Mike the yellow shirt, ladies and gentlemen. And we had a lot of fun with Mike, but let me tell you something. That Mike is actually a pretty good example of the attitude of most of the yellow shirts, in that they're just friendly, helpful people, really cool people. They're among the best workers in all of motorsports, and they do a great job every month at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And as we mentioned earlier, a lot of people just are volunteers out there, just donating their time, and they're very helpful and very cool. Okay, up next, we chatted with Omar the Scalper, and we needed to get a couple of tickets for our friends, and so a lot of people are under the impression, if you've never been to an IndyCar race, or especially the Indy 500, a lot of people think, oh, well, unless you get tickets in advance, you can't go. Well, quite obviously, that is not the case. A lot of times, though, people think, well, if I'm buying tickets from a scalper, it's going to cost double what it would normally cost. This year, we found that certainly was not the case. We went up ready to do battle financially with Omar, and he offered us a pretty good price on some pretty good tickets right out of the gate. But he talked about what it's like to do what he does for a living, and again, just another really cool guy hanging around the Speedway, just doing his thing. And I believe Dan even cracked a beer for him at one point after we completed the transaction. So this is our chat with Omar the Scalper.
Do you come out here every year?
Every year.
So how are ticket sales going so far this year?
You know what? It's usually a lot of tickets on the street, but this year it's not a lot of tickets. It could be cold. It could be because of the weather. It's gonna get nice weather.
Yeah.
And I think it's gonna be real. It's gonna be a good race. I think so. As far as selling tickets.
Who would you like to see win? Who do you think's gonna win?
Well, I like to see. You know what? I used to keep up on the name of the drivers.
Now, be honest now.
No, I'm just saying, but I'm really not up on who's, because it's got a lot of new people in it, young people. And, I'm an old guy. I remember the Andretti's and all that, but I haven't been keeping up really.
Well, there's an Andretti in the race this year.
Okay, that's who I'm for.
You're going for the Andretti?
Andretti. Yeah.
For American drivers?
Yeah, that's
all right. All right.
Yeah.
Where do you get all your tickets?
I buy them off, people. A lot of times people no shows, they got extra tickets.
Sure.
And they, you can't turn them in, so you got to find somebody, a secondary market to sell them to. But Americans, people from America, they pretty liberal with their money. If you got what they want, they will get it. They have no problem spending money with you. But you got to have what they want, though.
And you're Omar.
Omar, yeah.
Omar the Scalper, ladies and gentlemen, and he traveled all the way from Cincinnati to come to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and do his thing. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, we're going to meet someone that first attended the Indianapolis 500 as a child in 1949, and he's going to talk about some of the things that he's seen happen and change over the course of many, many decades of attending the Indianapolis 500. Before we get to that, I want to remind everybody that we're very excited. We picked up a sponsor on IndyCar Talk. If you go to our website now, we're offering discount auto accessories, truck accessories, and things like that. Go to IndyCarTalk.net, click on store, and you can find stuff like seat covers and floor mats. We've got Borla exhaust systems, K&N air-take systems and filters, and these are all at deep, deep discounts. In fact, there's also, you can save even more money. There's a discount code on our website at IndyCarTalk.net, so you punch that in at checkout, and you'll save even more. Cars, trucks, SUVs, we've got those big toolboxes that you can put in the back of your pickup. We've got remote starters. We've got cool appearance accessories like those things you use to black out your taillights and things like that, keyless entry systems. And this is basically the prices that we have on our dealer store website at IndyCarTalk.net are basically what like the car dealer would pay for these accessories before he sells them to you and then doubles the price. So, again, if you're like me, I've got an auto parts store around the corner from my house that I go to a lot, and I've got a guy there, and and I buy most of my stuff from him. And if you have a guy like that, great. But by all means, if you're looking at buying anything for your car, truck, or SUV, take a look at IndyCarTalk.net, see if we have it, and if we have it and your guy doesn't, great, buy it from us. If he has it, take our price in and see if he'll price match. If he does, great, buy it from him. But if they won't price match, buy it from us. We'll save you some money, and your car, truck, or SUV is going to look great, and you're going to enjoy driving it even more. So IndyCarTalk.net, click on store, and you'll check things out. Also in our store, you can purchase a copy of our theme song that we use every week. It's King Mixer's song 45, and that is scheduled to be released soon. So you can actually get the song before it's scheduled for release on iTunes and on great radio stations all around the world. So IndyCarTalk.net and click on store. So anyway, getting back to our show, the final person we're going to talk to is an oral surgeon from Terre Haute, Indiana. He attended the 1949 Indianapolis 500, and he was also a member of some of the safety crews that worked the races, so he certainly had some stories to tell, but it was cool to see him still hanging around after all these years. This is Dr. Mike, the oral surgeon.
You saw your first race in 1949, and how old were you?
I was 9 years old.
Now, was it something that you really wanted to go see, or was it something that your mom or dad said, you're coming with us?
No, my dad had a bunch of friends that were going to the race, and I bawled enough and whatever that he let me go.
Right.
I must not have been great. I didn't get to go back till 54, so it was. But I do remember, bits and pieces of the race. Saw Neyland's crash in down 1 and 2, and the fire and all that kind of crap.
Yeah,
where we were. But
so you've seen most of the races then since 1949.
I saw 49, then I saw 54. All the way through till 3 years ago, and I had a ruptured disc, and I just could not go on race day.
Sure.
I worked medical staff for 4 years. I worked fire crew for 13 years. I helped a friend of mine run the Molson Suite for 5 years.
So you were on the safety crew for a while?
Yes, 13 years.
Wow. So what's the craziest story after working the safety crew for over a decade?
Oh, I don't know. The one that stands out the most, and it wasn't safety crew. I was working medical staff in '64.
Okay.
And I was on a track ambulance in turn 4.
Okay.
And when they had the big crash, and we couldn't actually see the crash, but we saw the ball of fire and all that, and came down, and it was just a mess. But that stands out more than anything.
So you were one of the first responders for the 64
No, I wasn't
crash.
one of the first one, but I was down there. Our ambulance came down there also. As it turned out, they really didn't need much in terms of ambulances. But
so what? Obviously, that is one of the more horrific things that you've seen. What is one of the best memories you have of either being on the safety crew or as a spectator at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway?
Probably 86 when Ray Hall won after the race was rained out on Sunday and Monday and run the following Saturday. And we have a big Calcutta over in Terre Haute, which we had our 40th annual this year. And we had Ray Hall, and he made the pass on the restart and beat Kogan. That was pretty big to me because that Calcutta goes for about $17,000, and we get 40% of it, so it was that one stands out.
Sure. Compare and contrast things as when you were a 9-year-old and today, so much has changed. Is there anything that really stands out as being the biggest change?
Yeah, I missed them, and I wasn't really that much of a part of it, but all the people who party outside of Grandstand E and back there. I had some friends that used to go back there. Well, they were related to the Holman family. And even when I was working fire crew, I'd finish at the fire crew, and instead of going on home, I'd come over through the grandstand, across the track and through the grandstand, and party out there with them out behind Grandstand E. And they had everything. They had big tables with white tablecloths and candelabras, and it was just awesome. And there'd be like 10, 12, 15 groups out there doing that kind of thing after the race.
Talking about IndyCar nowadays, do you have a favorite driver?
I really don't have a favorite driver. I actually really get into the the low-budget teams, to be honest. I still want to see a low-budget team win. I was a big Novi fan back in the day.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
You know, I just always like to see the group that scrounges around and has to fight for sponsorship and gets in the race and does well.
Well, and we've seen that within the last few years with Brian Herta and even the guys at KV Racing when Kanan won in 13.
Well,
It is kind of cool to see, isn't it?
I'd love to see Sarah Fisher win.
Yeah, that'd be neat. That'd be neat.
I always appreciated Sarah. I always thought that given equal equipment that she would have driven circles around Danica. Danica always had so much better equipment than Sarah did, and I watched Sarah. I worked the fire crew at Terre Haute Action Track for 42 years, and after watching Sarah in a midget, there was no doubt in my mind that Sarah could drive.
She had the chops.
Oh yes.
Well, I know she's really happy as an owner now, and it's good to see her partnered up with Ed Carpenter. They had kind of a rough month this year.
Yeah, they did.
But that's the nature of things.
They've come a long way.
That's Dr. Mike from Terre Haute, Indiana, one of the many, many cool people we got to talk to at the 2015 Indianapolis 500. Folks, that's going to do it for this IndyCar Talk Extra. Thanks for listening to what we call the people of 16th and Georgetown. And remember, for discount auto parts, check out our store at IndyCarTalk.net. For Dan O'Connor, I'm Jerome Ritchey. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll talk to you next time.
IndyCar Talk, the greatest spectacle in podcasting. Check us out online at IndyCarTalk.net. Also on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. The next IndyCar Talk podcast will be available for download soon. Until then, happy motoring.